Hi, everyone. This is Debra Zachau from Grow Your Light, live from the Royal Palace, Buckingham Palace. And Lady Linda G has not shown up in her carriage yet. So we are just going to continue on. What did they say? Motor on and carry on or something like that. But I'll still do my little presentation. She did have trouble with her car. Not that she's driving to the palace, but yesterday that needed to be fixed like right away. And so this was kind of up in the air. But I just thought I'd still come on. And I hope you guys don't mind because I've got news to dish. I still have tea. You're not going to get out of the tea for sure. Let me just grab my glasses here. Say hello to people who got Dreamweaver got the cookie today. Congratulations. Cheryl's here. Craig is here. Hi, Linda G. She's not here yet. Got my eye on you. I love that. That's right. That's what she says. I got my eye on you. This is Lulu. The Quiet Flame is here. Woohoo. So again, I was going to put this, I want to put my banner up. Let me see here. I got my banner so everyone knows what I'm doing. So that's what we were doing. Good old observation and royal numerology. Hi, oil painter. Good to see you, and tribal dancers. So sweet. So as I was mentioning, Linda has not made it to the show because I think she's having trouble with her car. She did call me and let me know there might be trouble. So I'll just carry on and talk about the cool stuff. I was, what's my news? Oh man, I've got news. So I went down a rabbit hole called the royal family. Oh my God, so much fun. And I was talking to my helper in the back, my moderator in the back, Sarah from Hibiscus Healings. I was talking to her and I said, do you want to come on with me? And she says, no, I don't like the royal family. I just hate hierarchy like that. And I get it for sure. Gina Marie listen, thank you so much. I'm just going to put, maybe I can ask Sarah to put a banner up saying that Linda G has been detained at border control, probably. No, just joking. Don't put that. I don't want her to see that. Deborah, ask Linda G to tell you the story of I Gots My Eye on You. I would like, yeah, I Gots My Eye on You. So I'm going to start, start right away and tell you that so many countries around the world are doing podcasts and YouTube videos about us and our government. And we are worth the airtime, wouldn't you say? Because this is, our administration is ridiculous. And so then I started looking more on the outside of our country to find out what we were doing that we might not be figuring out or knowing about. And I found I'm much more educated on what really is going on. It's a little more tomfoolery than I thought. Nonetheless, I thought I'd turn the tables and go across the pond and talk about the royal family. Now, I got interested in it around Harry and Meghan kind of thing. And thank you. Harry and Meghan kind of thing. And then, but then when Epstein came in, so I'm all about that. Nonetheless, I would like to back you up first before we go in our carriage to the palace to understand the world is so remarkable, and I want you to be the observer. So remember that one universal year. What is that asking all of us to do as a society, as individuals, as rulers of countries, to do things differently, to govern differently, govern our personal lives, govern a country differently. Those who do not govern differently will crash and burn. Guaranteed. As an example, our administration is playing by the same rules. If the Supreme Court says no on one thing, then he'll go and try the other thing. The same thing he's done for years and years, generations, decades. So that means, beyond a shadow of a doubt, all the predictions of this administration and him going down is very likely, because, well, Diana Bowles can say this, Aquarius doesn't tippy toe through the tulips. Aquarius comes in and says, straighten up. This is the time to straighten up. Well, look at the other countries. So many other countries are doing things differently. They're governing differently. They're not just saying yes. Canada won. Amazing. Canada sat up in their chair and said, this is enough, and not just be indignant and all that. They actually put policy in to make sure that they are not dependent on the United States. Same with China. I mean, the petrodollar is American dollar, of course, but that will probably shift because all the other countries are doing things differently. And I know that to change your ways, it's easier when you're feeling, when you're on your back heel, someone's, what's that called? Defensive. When you're defending something, it's easier to make changes. But nonetheless, all these countries are making changes to make sure that when this nightmare is over for the world, it never goes back to this again. And I looked at the royal family, and I saw them doing things differently as well. So even though all of the documents and all the laws and policy and everything has been on the books for centuries, they are digging back centuries ago and pulling out these things that apply to this desperate time with Harry and Meghan and Andrew. So, but in our personal lives, I mean, before I move across the waters, in our lives, whatever personal year you are is going to predict how you're going to use this one universal year. So for instance, my personal year is 9. So I need to give up things and clear house kind of thing. Well, in a one personal year, that's going to be a lot easier for me than if I was a 4 life path where I needed structure and things don't change very often. It can be a little more difficult. You see what I'm saying? But when I say the numbers, the life path numbers, I want everyone to know that this is a generalization of, for instance, I know a little girl that was born to a couple that were very, very, very active. They're skiing one weekend, they're hiking, they're working, and they're just they're a game for anything, right? Well, they gave birth to a little baby girl, and she was a 4 life path. So as she grows up, she's going to have a resilience to this. I don't want to move, she'll be more comfortable with change. So we all, depending on our history, which molds us, and it can change a little bit, but I'm going to go into the archetype and what I know to be true. I've been doing numerology for a while, and I found out some really cool thing. Are you ready? This is the big thing. Okay, let me get my glasses on so I can make sure I don't get anything wrong. Princess Di, as wonderful as she is, oh, Craig says, Andrew, I'm distracted now. Andrew is literally royally screwed. That's true. I'm going to get to him. So Princess Di, as wonderful as she was, she married into an institution. And I'm really tired. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really, really tired of poor little rich kid having the airwaves and getting all the attention and without being called out. Just like, get over it. But I'm going to give her some room because she was so young when she married. So So anyway, she went in, and then she gained when she granted she granted the family the divorce by negotiating some things. And she was so smart in that, very smart. So for instance, she was able to, she'd say, I'll give you a divorce. I'll let him have a divorce, she said to the queen. I will keep my title and all of that. So that's she negotiated well. But the long and short of it, this is just archetypal, but she is a life path 7, which makes her very, very bright, extra sensitive when there's loud noises, because they're not usually on the dance floor. Usually they're behind serving punch. But but what that does is, and she was young, I know, but man, she got kind of whiny. I'll just say it, kind of narcissistic, and it's all about me, all that stuff. Well, that set aside, please don't, hate me all, please. But that set aside, you'll know that Prince Harry, he's kind of a mama's boy. His mother was the world to him, and the trauma of losing her has really traumatized him, has made him have some poor choices as he's growing up. But he's trying to get mental health in his life. He's been doing that pretty well. Nonetheless, here she was. Now, Prince Harry is a 1 life path, a 27-1. So the 7 in that equation, this is how we make agreements prior to incarnating. I'm going to work on the 7 energy, because it's a 27, the 7 energy, while being in with a 7 soul. So it's like they fed off each other and learned from each other. Now, what we do with that information is up to us. Doesn't matter what the reason is. We can have, we can have all these reasons why we make our choices. And I hate if anybody says, well, it's because I'm a 7, or it's because I'm a 1, or whatever. Don't ever do that with numbers. But with a personality 1 life path, being so subservient to the women in his life is pretty remarkable. It's as long as he decides that the sun rises and sets over the women in his life, he's going to continue to be uncomfortable in his own skin in the world. He doesn't understand that that's it. And it's okay to adore people, but there is a place for that. Wouldn't you agree? There's a place for that in the grown-up heart. So here's the controversy. Here's the bomb. So Meghan Markle, that I don't like, I haven't liked at all. Thought she was taking advantage, and sure enough, she is. To the royal family. Her birthday was I looked it up, and she claims it's 8/4/81, which makes her even with Prince Harry when he married, right? Same age. But there's a lot of controversy that she lied about her age. So as I add up the numbers for 1981, it's a 4, a 31-4. A 31 or any kind of 4 life path isn't on the planet to take risks. When they take risks, it's far, a lot of people can be comfortable with $100 in their checking account as a cushion, right? A 4 is not going to be comfortable with just $100. They're going to have big dreams, and they have to be very, very secure. So Meghan Markle I was so surprised when it came back a 4. And I thought, and when I go into these ideas, I often question myself, is this going to change my perception of my understanding of a 4 life path? And I couldn't reconcile it. Well, since I followed the numbers, I found out that now the consensus is that she was born in 1975. And so I added 1975 up. She's a 43-7. She's another 7 in the royal family. It's just remarkable, I think. Does anybody have feedback on that? I'd love to hear what you're saying. Let's see. Oh, Gina Marie says, wish I could work with him to help relieve trauma. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But there's a resistance there, I believe. But we all have our own path. She is older than Harry, Charlie says. Diana says, Meghan Markle. Oh, let me see what that is. Alicia Silverstone was diagnosed with MS back in 2021, and she calls one of her legs when it's spasming. Oh, that's funny. I didn't realize that. So her legs or something like that, or not fake legs, but when they're spasming, they're calling it Meghan. Meghan is doing a Meghan Markle, narcissistic. Yeah. So understand that I'm not putting all, 7 life paths down at all. I just want you, if you are a 7 life path, you are brilliant. You also get an extra God spark to understanding the other side much better, faster. If you studied, whatever you're focused in, if you study the academics of it. So if you study mediumship or things like that, then you're going to really benefit. Your advice is going to be quite wonderful because you have that straight line. But if you try and predict someone's actions and try to move around the corner and make someone do something, that is going to frustrate you. And so another thing with the 7 life path, things need to make sense, and the human condition doesn't make sense. Your friends don't make sense. People marrying people don't make sense. There's so much that doesn't make sense. We are not mathematical problems that we have a solid answer to. We are not 2 + 2 = 4. So that's where, if you're R7, just kind of look and be the observer on that. I've met plenty of 7s that are lovely, very lovely. I'm looking at this one here. I think someone or a dream, something it had happened. You, Swart, 1962, you are going to benefit from tomorrow's show so much. So that's all about, excuse me. I hope I don't start coughing. I'm getting warm, like I'm going to start coughing. So Bob Ginsburg started and runs the Forever Family Foundation, which gives grief counseling. It also encourages people to explore visitation from the other side, near death experiences. I'm going to cough. Doggone, I'm going to put myself on mute for a minute. I'll be saying this tomorrow, but Fran and Bob lost their daughter suddenly, and so they were beside themselves. So they would go to grief circles and to try and deal with their grief, but they wanted to talk about life after death, and the moderator would say, no, we don't talk about that here. We talk about what's really happening, what's real. And they said no, because they started getting visitations from Bailey, their daughter. I have an example of that. It's such a good video I'm going to share with you tomorrow. And that will be at 12 noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. So highly recommend anybody who's had a near-death experience, anybody who's suffered or is suffering grief big time right now. And those of you who aspire to be mediums and want to get certified, if you get certified through the Forever Family Foundation, it's a remarkable. It's very, very, very difficult. Very difficult. Let me see some of the chat here. Let me see. That's my news. That's some of my news. That's a little bit of my news, Dream Reaver. Don't you find I don't know. I find this really, really, really interesting. I had a class get canceled just so I could. Oh, yay. I'm so glad you're here, Gina Maria. Thank you so much. I'm sorry you had to cancel a class. I will be, Craig, I will be asking Linda G when she comes on. I got my eye on you. I'd like to hear that. That sounds sneaky, under the table talking. She's excited about that. That's my story. And we have, yep, all over the world. I'm just moving through here. Anybody have questions about numerology or the royal family before I move into Epstein? Well, this is a great segue. Thanks, Craig. Queen Mommy spoiled Andrew, but the cops didn't. This time the cops didn't. I loved the look of surprise writing it. Yeah, he didn't even look like himself when he was in that car. But this is, I don't think Queen Elizabeth was in denial. She might have been in denial a little bit. But what happens is that when one of the royal children is like that, second in line, is naughty, do you think anybody's going to go to the Queen and say, talk to your child about this? No, that's one of the problems, that a fear and favor kind of thing. So everyone just kind of coped. But he is very mean to people, just like Meghan was very mean to the service people and all that stuff. But let me see I forgot what his birthday is. Oh yeah, he's a 28-1. I told you that I told you the wrong number for Harry. Sorry about that. 37-1, not 27-1 for his number. Yes, but Andrew is another 1, but he's got the 8, the 2 and the 8 forming the 1. Those are the lessons we need to learn to move into the full potential of the one life path. So this acquisition, the 8 is all about what's on the earth, indulging on the earth. Usually 8s tend to overeat or overbuy or over examine, but a lot of their goals are met. And also the 2, collaboration, relationships. So as you can see with Andrew, he did not master the collaboration part. So he can't move into the full potential of his 1, but his idea, because he's this bigwig, he was a 1, right? He was the 1, that type of thing. So yeah, I believe that he's not, again, this is another example of someone continually doing the same thing. Like even when he went to Epstein to say goodbye to his good friend and stayed 10 days in his in his house. So funny. He was implying that he just popped in, popped out, said goodbye. No, he stayed with him like for 10 days. So, but see, that's just like T-Rex in the White House, the doing the same thing over and over again, denying everything and trying to gaslight us. Not going to work. It will catch up to him. This is another reason why don't worry about the monster and all of his little minions in the White House, because the same thing is coming for them. And it's amazing how big that story is, the Epstein story. How many people are and again, I want to bring it back to yourself, your personal life. A one universal year is going to help you make new changes. In other words, for instance, I had to give up my 9 personal years, giving up things. And I've had things I've had in my life for a decade or longer that I had to give up. And so it was up to me to decide whether I was going to make it be a trauma, make it be a big deal or not. And knowing that it's a one universal year helps me understand that I can make new choices and be comfortable with a new situation. The 9 personal year that I have gives me the impulse to say, well, I am going to give this up. So it's like the 9 says, I need to give this up. And a lot of times it'll just break, like a device I've been using on my phone, my old iPhone, the kind that has the button, gosh, that kind of died because it took an update it shouldn't have. It's so old. But my phone was given to me by my good friend when she died. And she knew I was struggling with this other phone that I had. And so her sister called after she died and she goes, she wants you to have her phone. So I'm not going to give it up. But it'll still stay with me. I can use the calculator. But so the same thing happened with it's called a century plant here near the desert. And they say it's a century plant. It's an agave. There's different species, but the agave supposed to bloom only once every 100 years. Well, that's misleading, because they do bloom, but it takes 10 to 30 years for it to bloom. And the bloom is fantastic. It's just, I'll show it to you if this one blooms. I've been nurturing it. When in 2003, when I moved here, I was walking my dogs and this small little agave was in the dumpster. And I thought, oh, I'll take you home. You can be my plant. And so I planted it. And then when I moved from that house to this house, I cut it and planted it here. And that was 23 years ago. So it's almost ready to bloom. And the weather that happened pulled the whole thing down. It had given a lot of babies off. And it was this magnificent thing, and it just crushed over. So I had to cut it up and stuff. I am going to try and save it. But see, it's that kind of stuff that's going to happen in a 9 personal year. It happens in other years, of course, but it gives me when I'm aware of the numbers, it gives me a way to manage my emotions. And if anybody listening has trouble with their emotions, the numbers are the way to peace. Got to tell you that. So there's little things. I had to give up a computer, that I have a long time. But nonetheless, Hibiscus Healing Sarah says, I just realized it, 37. Oh, that makes sense. So let me do the 37. So we'll compare you to Harry and see the difference on how you move into your soul's work. So you're the same number as Prince Harry. Ideally, you get in your early days up until now, and Sarah is a wonderful, wonderful healer. And so she's really going into metaphysics. It's been hounding her whole life. I know she can tell her own story, but she's been dabbling in it for a long time, but now she's serious and zip right to the front of the line. Her practice is fantastic. What she does is fantastic because of that 7. She's been comfortable with the metaphysics of it all, and she's structured. That's another thing about 7s, is that so they don't go off on the deep end of their imagination, because that's where imagination lives too. She has, I'm talking about you. She's in the back room here. She has a protocol that she enacts each and every time she does something. When she's learning about things, there's divine order, there's charts, and she learns things originally, what the historic legacy of that tool is, and then she moves into the full potential of the 1 and combines her life experience. We all do this. Everyone's doing this as we speak. It's not just her. Their life experience, the information they have learned, and then out the other side for a 1 is something brand new for all of us, not just for them. The information that comes through is fresh and unique to all of us. That's the gift they bring. And also you're a 3, which is creativity. Let's go back to the creative part. We know what that breeds. Creativity breeds curiosity, which brings information and then knowledge. The shadow side of a 3 is when you try to manipulate others with it. And that's what our Harry is doing. He's trying to manipulate a man, trying to convince all of us that all is well. And boy, it isn't. I've got so much more on the royals. I can talk forever on it. But I wanted to actually shine the light on the numbers. So if you could personalize this information, I swear it's going to benefit you if you just understand where you are and what life is asking you to do. I don't know what personal year he is in. Yeah, I think he's in a 7 year. So that means he's going to have to reconcile what he believes, what he's telling everybody, and what the truth is, because the truth is going to be revealed, and it's up to him to manage it in a good way. Right now, they're divorcing, and the palace, what the palace is doing that's different. Let me get back to the palace. But anyway, that's why, before I stop, you can see Harry mismanaging his numbers and Sarah managing her numbers in a productive way that benefits all of us. So he's all just me. I'm wham. He's from the wambulance. So, but that's the shadow side of struggling with a 7-1, 37-1. But when I want to get back to how things are different, like institutions are doing things differently. There's a lot of institutions in America that refuse to bend the knee for T-Rex and his minions. They're starting to say no. These are all brand new things, and we say better late than never. Well, this is perfect timing. It's a 1 universal year, so this is right on tracks, and they will they will have the wind at their back if they choose differently now. So what the royal house is doing, so there's the monarchy is actually William and Catherine, Charles and Princess Anne. They are the working royals. And they're all 2911s, all 3 of them, 2911s. So there is it's a unique thing about an 2911. Well, all of the 11s, they can compartmentalize very easily. They can do do protocol and what is, because it can be very idealistic. Plus, they're very independent, they're creative, things like that. Well, they're working in tandem with this situation with Andrew choosing differently and Harry choosing differently. They put in, I think it was Andrew, the last time they put in action this one protocol was in 1643, because somebody did something bad way back then, so they enacted this. But what the Queen did before she died was strip him of his medals and his military honors. He still kept the name, his title, but now I'll call him the firm, the 3 or 4 that are there. They are saying no. He no longer is a prince. He has nothing left. He had to move from a 30-room mansion to a 5-bedroom home. I don't know who bought that home for him or who's managing it, but I think it's his inheritance that he's paying out of pocket, because they want this scandal far away from them. That's been the true for generations. They don't want scandal. But they're really not afraid of putting it into action. And I want to point out one other thing, juicy gossip. They exiled him before he was indicted, let alone charged and found guilty. This is, we here in this country, it's like, oh, go ahead and kill people, and we can't, you're innocent until proven guilty, even though I see the axe. So this is our time to change our policies and the way, we are governing too slow in the courts and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to that happening sooner than later, like this year. But they cut him off way before he was a problem, because they knew the problem was coming. So as far as Harry goes, they've been managing this. So this is another thing. They're getting a divorce, and they are not giving Harry back his titles, his money, nothing. He's not a working royal. He doesn't represent the royalty. They're suing, trying to get Meghan to stop using the royal children as props for her media empire. There's a bunch of different things, but there is a thing in royal terms, a conservatory for a conservatorship for the children. Any child of royal blood in the world is protected by, it's all about the kids. So the conservatory was in charge of the children's school, daycare, and medical attention in California. So those institutions, the school that those kids are going, Archie and Lily was going to, they needed to report to the palace of everything. So they started reporting to the palace that the kids weren't attending school. Meghan had taken them out of school. So that put into action this thing where they flew over and collected the children. Harry was already back and forth, but collected the children, and so they're with Catherine, Kate, and William for a while till they sort things out, because an unfortunate situation like a divorce and exploitation can't happen. It's remarkable. I think it's wonderful. But here's another thing they're doing different. And that is that when they divorce, Harry can't have his children unless he has housing and income. He wants to move back to UK. So the conservatorship is going to have to raise those children. He has visitations and everything like that, but they can't live with him until right now he's homeless. They were kicked out of Frogmore, they left everything. They have no, now the king could just say, okay, I'll buy this little home for Harry so he has his children. That's what would happen if it was America. But they're not doing that. They said, get a job. And so they're giving him 3 months to get his life in order. You see how it's just, now there are a lot of people who don't like the monarchy. I understand that because there's a lot of non-working royals that are getting paid, and those taxes are killer over there that go to I was going to say the Vatican. It's not the Vatican, but the firm, the institution. And so so that's going to work out differently too. There's a real movement to stop that. And so that movement from the pedestrians, from the people, of stopping the taxes that go all the way, into the pockets, stopping that, then they're going to scrutinize all these private planes and things like that. Eugenie and Beatrice, Andrew and Fergie's daughters, they're non-working royals, but they live very well. And that, I believe, is going to stop. And it's the whole reworking of the dynamics. I think it's wonderful to watch how people are understanding this universal year and acting. Let's go. Is there any questions here, Sarah, that we... What about a 30/3 life path? So what you do is it's like the 3 to pied or to 10 times 10 times 10, because the 0 empowers the 3. And so with you, your way to salvation is creativity of any kind, being free enough to change your mind and to communicate how you feel. That is your salvation. So if you're feeling stifled or something like that, understand that just doing something creative can get your mind back to even, so you can make good choices. Now, there are a lot of different things that come into a 3 life path. Your astrology, which I don't understand astrology, but all of that, your history, all of that can, I just haven't met a lot of 3s, let alone a 30/3 in accounting. If they are in accounting, they're writing the books on how to do accounting, that kind of thing. They're giving seminars. So we've also got shady institution, has no checks and balances. They knew about Andrew, but they put out a story with Kate looking pretty, and that's all it takes. Well, the distractions, that's what T-Rex is doing. That's what our whole lives on YouTube looking at stuff is just like, look at this shiny object. Don't look at the elephant in the room. So everybody does that. But what I'm pointing out is, that's the way it has been. Shady institution saying everything's fine when it isn't, still taking the commoners' money. I understand all that, but look at what's happening now. I mean, I can't be more impressed. And a lot of it happened after the Queen's death. And Princess Anne is a remarkable woman, just a really remarkable woman. And they do such service. Now, let's talk about a working royal. Oh my God, those people the children in different countries, all over the world, the charities they support, and it's just remarkable. But the non-working royals, need to start their own job, their own bakery. But I understand there's no checks and balances. Everything's behind shady. Same with America. But it's got to change. And so they know that. So yes, they knew that Andrew was a problem. William can't stand Andrew. If Andrew didn't get in trouble now, when he becomes king, he would exile him because he's more progressive. And so we're just like our country, we're going to get younger people in. I'm going to vote for the youngest woman or the youngest person in the world to take office in my area and in the nation. I'm not going to go with Newsom. I mean, he wants to be president, but no, he doesn't support the idea that we need to tax the billionaires. Now think of this. Look at it this way. Remember how the pandemic checks came out, kind of blossomed out into the world, and we all had money on our pockets? I believe that if it's a one-time tax on the wealthy billionaires, one time, and filter all of that money no middleman, just all that money to like they did for the pandemic, where the checks went out. That would be such an infusion of wealth, evening out some wealth. It would be remarkable. That would be a healing. That would be like getting a miraculous healing. Can America do that? Will America do that? I believe it's an option. They haven't called me to hammer out the details, but I hope they do. But it's one of those things that can right a wrong immediately. Are there consequences? I'm sure there are, but it's something brand new in a one universal year. And if it's not this year, it'll be next, because we go into the 2 universal year, which is all about collaborating with others, coming back together again. How are we going to do that on the big stage, on the international stage, if T-Rex is still in office? It can't happen. But it'll just make us a little bit harder to get right the ship kind of thing. But it's going to happen. That's right. Andrew, formerly known as Prince. So when will evidence come out against Trump that will have actual legal effect? When, right now, I believe in our laws, he can't be indicted for anything until he's out of office. And then him and everyone can go down, but he's not going to, we're not going to get that satisfaction. We might on the other people, the minions that broke the law, we can do that. But I know this is painful. I know this idea that we're living in is just embarrassing. And just hang in there and understand that the people who are now saying, T-Rex has lied to me. Oh, I see the error of my ways. That's amazing amount of people. In independents, only 23% of independents still feel that T-Rex is all that in a bag of chips. 23%. You cannot win anything with 23% of independents not liking you. So it's going to fall. And yes, she says the corruption is too much. It is too much. And see, with this community, with the light workers that are here, the people who understand things in more than just a linear way, we have lived with the truth since he came down the escalator. We knew the truth way back then. So we've been clutching our pearls and biting our nails for a decade or more, while the rest of the country up levels. And isn't that ascension? Isn't that how we move forward into a kinder place where everyone comes by? Now, it's been hard on us. It's been hard on everybody. And now it's been hard on us, but now it's harder on more people. And they're coming to the idea that we can ascend. We couldn't have ascended as a unit, as a country, as a planet, with so many people unable to see outside of their own self-interests. And so I don't want to say it's it was destined to be. It didn't have to be this hard. It really didn't have to be this. It could have been seamless if we did things differently for the last 50 or the 60, 70 years. If we did a little something different and opened our minds, it just didn't flow that way. But if we had done that, this ascension thing, this change, this shift wouldn't be so exhausting. But here we are. And bravo to all of you that have been there, shocked, and simply go into prayer, a lot of prayer with this, and getting to this point, because now we're going to start seeing the consequences that our human nature needs. Like I think I heard Kamala is going to run for president. I'm not going to vote for her either, because she did not she wasn't brave enough to have a recount. She needed to do a recount for us, not for her. She didn't need it, that's fine, but she needed to think about us, the people who got her there. And so she didn't do it. So I know that that's not the kind of governance I need in my government. I'm not going to support that. I'm going to be ruthless. The worst thing, well, I have come to the conclusion that I had made a mistake voting for Hillary Clinton. I should have voted for Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders was Trump's equal as far as over the topness. And I didn't recognize it. Maybe you didn't recognize it. No harm, no foul. But now I know the difference. And it's important for liberals to see within their own party, to look within themselves on who's in and who's out. And for me, who's in is someone who's unafraid to do things differently and fairly. I need the instruction on how to find this. You came in late. That was a long time ago. You've been here for a while. I'm going to go down to the bottom. We had a lot of these. Thank you for being on my side. Kamala didn't really represent. Yes, Bernie, he is still valid in the grand scheme of things. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And I'm glad we have him as a marker, he has the map. He has the map. Oh, someone's struggling with their birthday. So can someone please tell me July 21st, 1967? What you do is just add the numbers one right after the other till you get to a double-digit number. Let's do it together. How about that? I'm going to get this. So I go 7 plus 3, because that's 21, plus 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 7 equals 33. You, my dear, are master number 33. Now go on the internet or read my book. Oh, I forgot about my book. I have to do some shameless. Read my book about 33s. Go on the internet and figure that out. Now 33s in a one universal year, 33s can be stubborn, because everything they've done, everything they do, along with the 6, which is the root, everything you've done comes with receipts. There was a damn good reason why you did or said what you did or said. So that's how you've lived your life. And so to open up and change things, you just have to go, it might be a little bit tougher because you need a new idea with a new perspective. If you know that, that's just in general. Oh, you got the book. Yay! Thank you so much. If anybody got my book, would you mind please going on Amazon and giving it a review, just a quick review? I really would appreciate that. I'll give you I think you said it was on Amazon. All you do is go to even if I've gifted you a book and you're not a verified, you didn't buy it off there, you can still give a review. You just go to the page where my book is and click on the reviews. And on the left side, on my computer, so the left side, write a review. And I would so appreciate that. How do we calculate our personal year? So your life path number that never, ever, ever, ever changes is what I just said, was one number after another, including your month, your day, and your year of birth. Personal years are your month and day and the current year. So the current year is 1, boils down to 1, because you add 2 plus 2 plus 6 is 10. You drop the 0 and you have a 1. So you would add if I was born 125, so it'd be 1, 2, 5 plus 1. And that's my 9. And it's only a 9-year cycle. So you always reduce it. However, on a personal year, on a personal level. However, if you have an 11, a 2 personal year that before the 2 was an 11, that has significance to me because it's more of a spiritual year ahead regarding relationships. So that's what would help you propel through maybe going professional in your counseling or that kind of thing. It says a lot. If anybody, I got to tell you, when I learned numerology and then tested it all out, my life has changed. I have a tendency to lose control of my emotions. And so ever since I can reconcile the numbers with what I am supposed to be, where I'm supposed to be, I don't lose control over my emotions anymore. I know exactly what is asked of me. It's like a map. So, and in honor of having Linda G on, and I'll have her on again. I mean, she said she'd come back. But if you know your numbers, in honor of this show, I put my half-hour readings and my hour readings on special. So, if you want to get to know what life is asking you to do, that'd be great. Now, it's not all or nothing, right? Like I said, it's not just, these are just archetypes, but it is a roadmap. When you get a personal reading, you really get down to the details, and it really, really helps, I think. And we've got, we have another, oil painter said she is an 11 and the year is 1. Brand new stuff. See, a 1 universal year is a little easier on an 11 than it would be on some of the more, like 2 is all about expressing themselves through another person or through community, that type of thing, and doing something new isn't like they're not mavericks usually. So I think that it's an easy. What about a 3rd year? So if you're a 3rd year, this is asking you to get your, I'll just say it, mind in order. So your thoughts in order. It's very, very important. So it's all about creativity. They're going to ask you, life is going to give you opportunities to say yes to new creative things. And so, yeah, even though you might paint a really stupid, funny picture, but you want to paint the picture. You're going to go and paint the picture, you see. So if you say yes to things, if you say no, you can say no. This is, everyone has a choice. You can say no, but then you don't grow. You just don't grow. But a third year is very creative. It's almost like, I hate to say this, hopefully you're not having a tough year. And tough years can come in every year, right? It's just life being tough. But I have found the 3 personal year as being so creative. I wrote 2 books and a deck, created a deck in a third, on one of my 3rd personal years. And then at the end of the 3 personal year, I thought, I didn't do anything this year. I felt like I was doing nothing, but everything just flew out. So if you allow that to happen, that'd be great. Hi, Sue. Thanks for the thumbs up and subscribe. It's there was another question about, if you have I'm going to do a whole show on just working out your numbers and things like that, because it's so important to have a life that's a little easier on you. And I have found numerology has served me well with my disability of having trouble with my emotions. But I love you all. I want to thank you. I will do a show, and it will be with Linda G. And so look out for that. I appreciate everyone who's come. Please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. And like and hype if you found this interesting. I'm curious, in the comments, could you comment whether you want more information on the royal family? Because I've got stuff I could dish and refine. I can refine it. This was my first tipping my toe in the waters of the royals, and I don't know if anybody's interested. I am, so I'll be doing it. I'm just wondering how many people would enjoy it. So I love you, everyone. Do well, be well to each other, take care of each other, and I'll let you know when I'm on with Linda G. And remember, tomorrow at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, you really want to have that show. So maybe click remind me, notify me. I love information about the royals. Oh, it makes my life seem so so calm. I know, girl. That's so funny. That's exactly how I feel. It's nice to get out of America and get into the pockets of something else that we can observe life and learn from it. So until another day, love you. See you tomorrow. All right. Bye, everyone.